So then I'd be doing something. I'd be complaining about and cleaning the x-ray machine or when I had the plain film, which just dates me. He goes, would you hire somebody to do that for about $600? No. Well, you did. So it puts that in perspective. If I'm not in the room or working on the business, trying to adjust to people working on the business, I'm wasting my time. It's not, I should delegate anything less than that. And that took me a long time. Like most entrepreneurs are met. We think we can do everything better or whatever, but in some aspects it's easy to delegate things I didn't like to do, but the things I like, good at it is harder, and I still could do more.
Welcome back to ChiroX, where we talk business growth for, well, chiropractors. One of the hardest shifts to make as a chiropractor isn't learning new adjustment techniques. It's learning how to stop being the technician and turn into the CEO of your business. We all want freedom. We all want to scale, but most of us are just buying a high-paying, high-stress job where the business stops the second we walk out the front door. Today's guest, Dr. Ryan Davis, hit that exact wall. He was a solo practitioner in Minnesota doing well, but he realized that taking a 2-week vacation didn't just cost him the price of the flight. It cost him about 20 grand in lost momentum and missed opportunities. Now Ryan is seeing 450 patients a week without burning out. In this episode, we're diving into the systems that allowed him to scale, from how to use CAs to handle subjective notes and patient prep, to the $600 an hour mindset shift that his coach forced him to take on to finally start delegating low-level tasks. Whether you are a solo doc looking for your first associate, or you're already at 7 figures and looking to buy your next practice, Ryan has some serious gems for you. Let's dive in. Live and on the pod with Dr. Ryan Davis. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Great, yourself?
I'm good. We were, before hitting record here, we were reminiscing on Minnesota and cold weather and Texas and sauna and cold plunges. And I just had to bring this up real quick because I find this funny since I left there. And I looked up Grand Rapids weather for this weekend, and it is 6 degrees, 12 degrees, and 17 degrees on Sunday.
For the highs, right?
Yeah. And I was looking at here in Austin, and it is 84 degrees, 70 degrees, 73 degrees for this weekend. I don't.
Not to rub it in or anything.
Yeah. I don't miss Minnesota at all. That's why I bring that up.
You don't have that spring day where you have that 40-degree day and just everybody comes alive, it's melting, all the depression starts to wear off.
So you know what's funny about that is that's what I realized since living here is that, because that's how it was living in the North or anywhere in the Midwest for the matter, is like whenever it gets sunny, your brain and your chemistry and your psychology is like, yes, like sandals, and I'm happy and I want to go outside and I want to do things. But now living here, I feel like that all the time. Like there's never like the down season. It's just always an up season. Maybe it'll wear off eventually. I don't know. But yeah, anyways. So let's kick things off with an interesting story that I know I think that would be fun for the audience to hear. So you had something about a German exchange student who became an orthopedic spine surgeon. I'm curious as to what that story is, or can you guys give some context to what happened there?
Yeah, actually, he just as a senior in high school, I joined the German club so I could go to a trip because I knew you could drink underage there. So anyway, I just signed up on a whim, and they match you up. They pair you up with a student, and they came over here for a month, like in April, which we actually had a huge snowstorm, a late one, and he was kind of culture shock. And then we went over there in the summer for a month, and we just kind of hit it off, and then it just became super good friends. So we go back and forth every year or two, and I went into chiropractic, and he went into spine surgery. It's kind of everything paralleled. My son and his oldest son, similar age, went to each other's weddings and whatnot. But we do have a passion for hunting, and we kind of been going on little hunting trips. He comes here to shot a deer, and then we went to South Dakota. One of my brother and sister-in-law, our chiropractors are actually, we pheasant on there, and then we did a Colorado elk trip. He brought a buddy over, and we went elk-hunting, where they take you up on horses, drop you off in a tent, come pick you up in a week. And the weather turned cold there. We're up 10,000 feet, and it was probably similar conditions to what you just listed for this weekend here. And we got a foot of snow, and it was miserable hunting, and we did shoot one elk out of 6 of us. But anyways, Jan, when he came back in the tent, freezing again, and he's like, I'm planning the next trip. You're done planning my trips. So he goes, we're going to Poland. because we're gonna shoot a bunch of stuff. We're gonna stay in a nice place. It's gonna be nice weather. I'm like, whatever. Like, I figure he's talking a big game. But anyways, we did. Last time we went there, our whole group went over there. My brother-in-law, my dad, and my buddy, and then and then him and Robert, his buddy, picked us up in Warsaw, and then we drove north. Right on the edge of that Russian border, that little Kaliningrad piece. We hunted there for a week, and we all shot a stag, and we saw all kinds. We stayed at a nice place. It was kind of what he said. So I'm done in planning trips for hunting wise.
Yeah, I remember growing up hunting in Minnesota and just like I feel like most of my time was spent holding a coffee cup, basically trying to stay warm for 8 hours in a stand was my experience of hunting in the Midwest. And now down here in Texas, it's basically like you pay a guy that has like some land with like every exotic animal from a zebra to a giraffe and everything in between. And you just walk out and it's like, oh, there it is. There's your animal. Right. Just like it's such a different world. It's so interesting.
In Texas, you guys do anything. Shoot them from helicopters and stuff, I think.
Yeah, literally anything. I have a friend here in town who actually, he just uses a knife for like boar hunting and stuff. Is like they have dogs that the dogs will grab the boar and hold it down, and then he just goes up with a knife and finishes the job. Essentially, a little gruesome, but yeah, yeah, it's a different world down here, man. But let's dive into a little bit more about your practice. So I think that most docs listening to this show would hear this idea of seeing 450 patients a week as just like a recipe for burnout. And there seems to be a way to be able to do that without burning out. And I'm sure a big part of this is delegation. So I think maybe a good place to start for us would be, before we dig into like that whole piece of it, would be at some point you were basically seeing, I think, roughly 130 to 160 patients as a solo practitioner. And I'm curious as to like, what was the line in the sand moment for you when you decided that like you didn't want to be the solo person doing it all yourself anymore? And what did that look like?
Well, I basically is. I started my practice from nothing, basically, and it took me a while to get up to that, to 100 patients or whatever for a while, and then I got to that 130, 140, and got pretty comfortable, and made a piece of living. And I had one staff member, and we got on great. It was pretty easy, but I always had a goal of having an associate. One, I like to travel a lot, and when you're a solo practitioner, you can't take much time off. You can't go to Europe for 2 weeks, and if you do, it costs you not only a trip, but it costs you all the patients you lost, plus people drop out of care. Probably costs you an extra 10, 20 grand on top of it. And so then you just don't take the trip. So that was a big goal of mine, to hire an associate. So it's kind of on the list. And then that kind of fell in my lap. Dr. Joki, my first associate, I was going to buy a practice in the neighboring town. And then it fell through right last minute. So he was just he already bought a house. His wife had a job up there. And then he just called around to all the chiropractors in northern Minnesota. I think he was kind of hit the panic button and happened to call me. And I said, I'd be interested in meeting with you anyway. I didn't think I was at the point where I could afford it or ready for it. But it seemed like he's a great guy. And I talked to different people, kind of advised me. I had a coach at the time, or I still do, and just decided to take the plunge and hire him. So that kind of made me, when I had backs against the wall, I kind of perform a lot better. I get out of the comfort zone and actually perform a lot better. So it was a big catalyst to step my game up, to get him busier, to get my practice so I didn't decrease my practice. And then, so I guess that was the biggest catalyst. The initial, had more mouths to feed, and I wanted him to succeed, and I wanted to be long term. Ideally, him to buy me out. No, good exit strategy, actually.
Yeah, so more freedom. I think that's a common place where I think a lot of docs end up in, is that they practice for long enough to realize that they have positioned themselves as the guru of the practice and they're unable to step away because it's 100% reliant on them. And then they realize when they want to go on a hunting trip in Poland that you're right, you have to pay for it in more ways than just your time, is like potential new patients. How do you keep the practice going? What if you lose patients? Like there's kind of a trickle effect of like being the only practitioner. It sounds like you got lucky in a lot of ways, and like this doctor more or less kind of fell into your lap. But like let's say that the listener or the person watching this, and shout out to Sean, by the way, who just commented. Thanks for checking in, man. But like let's say that they aren't in that position where like a doctor or an associate just falls into their lap. Like what would you recommend to them, or what would you even recommend to yourself if somebody that's like, all right, I know I need to find an associate, or I know I need to not be the only person doing the practice. Like what would they do?
I think there's many ways to go and actually look. And I just was kind of too scared to actively look at the time. Um, Being in Minnesota, there's a school, or Northwestern schools right there, so that'd be a good resource. Or just actively look, I guess, would be the thing. But you also could go around. I think there's a lot of chiropractors around that aren't very good at business or get sick of the headaches of it, and would be a better place. So maybe even approaching local chiropractors to have you come in and take their practice within yours. I kind of did that. My second associate, Dr. Newman, he was he practiced in a town about 2 hour and a half away, but he's from here, and he decided to move back. His wife wanted to move back home, and he started a practice in town here. He didn't approach me. I didn't know him really, and so he started a practice, and I stopped in and talked to him, just kind of BS'd him a little bit. And you could tell he was starting old. He was 60 years old, or not 58 at the time. He's like, "Oh, I'm starting all over again." And I go, "Well, just join me." And because he hated the paperwork, hated, if a VA patient calls, you got to send a note in, or on and on and on, the little things. I go, "Just join my practice and we'll take care of everything, because we have systems in place where you can come and treat, and that's all you have to worry about." And that was a perfect fit for him to join. And then he had a small patient base, but he took it with him. And so didn't start from scratch, and it turned out it's going really well.
I like that you brought up the school thing. This is something that I recommend to doctors often as well, is like getting involved with the local school if there is one in your area, because I think that that's like an easy segue to potentially into associates, like being fresh out of college and they're maybe new and they can maybe learn your systems, and so I think just like, yeah, being a part of the community or the organization or the schooling or an adjunct teacher of some form, I think is like, I mean, as sad as it sounds, is like it's a really probably good funnel for potentially getting more associates into your practice. Sure. But
And you can try them out. I mean, if it's a good, if they come in for an internship or some, or externship, and you can get a good feel of how they're doing. So,
right.
or if they're going to be a fit, their personality matches. And
I think a lot of docs think that if they aren't spending like a half an hour with a patient, that they aren't really providing value, or even an hour. And I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with that style of practice. I know plenty of docs who do have successful practices that are more like the rehab care, and they spend a lot more time with their patients. But I don't think that's necessarily the approach you've taken. How do you maintain excellent care of like 450 patients per week without spending, I guess, a half an hour with all your patients?
yeah, we're just trying to be most efficient we can, and just really present when you're in the room. You know, um, we have we've delegated a lot of things as we grew, and one of the biggest ones, which took me forever, my coach was telling me forever to do, and I finally did it when Dr. Joki came and we needed to grow. But having the CA lay the patient down, and I can't imagine how many times when you walk in the room, they're sitting there, they want to tell you their symptoms and stuff, or in their small talk, and then they stand up and they take the stuff out of their pockets and take the belt off and take the Leatherman off, and then about to lay down, they forget their glasses. So you killed 2 or 3 minutes of just that type of stuff. So if you see do that, it's a huge thing. And then we've upgraded to our C's do the subjective notes, and that's up on the screen. We walk in, you can see it from where we walk in. Okay, I see you're doing a little better, your low back or whatever. So you're acknowledging them, you're in the game. And then my CA does an awesome job at little, she puts little sticky notes on the door. If anything, like this patient's a little frustrated on the care, or it changed, or they have a question, or something simple like that. So you go in and you're already addressing the problem. It's in your head what you need to address. You don't have to. Sometimes they tell the CA more than they tell us too. Like if they're frustrated, they're scared to say it to me off the time. So I'll miss that whole thing. If Karen gets that up and gives me a heads up, then I can address it. And then a lot of times it's an easy, quick little answer, go over some stuff and maybe show them a stretch or something very simple that doesn't take long. And the patient feels like they've been heard. They got a good adjustment, therapy if needed. So in a short amount of time, you can do all that. We don't do a ton of muscle work, but we have 2 massage therapists in our house. So, we do therapies, but I don't do them myself. So
you're basically getting your CA more involved in the process, right? Is what I'm hearing? Yeah.
way more, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I hadn't heard the one about the subjective thing. So does your CA take a subjective note with the patient and then put that up front for you to see when you come into the room? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Yep, that's how we do it now. Yep. And the chiropractic just came out with a AI subjective we're implementing. It's working on the kinks, but so you just turn the record on and the patient talks. And it can differentiate between the CA or me and the patient. And then it'll be on recording and I see what they said to the CA, and then I'll continue talking and it takes the note for you. But that's just came out. It's just kind of working through the kinks. But before that, they put it up. They go in the room, lay him down, put up the subjective, and then be up on my computer. We walk in, just glance at it. So I knew what they're already. So you don't have to go through all the stuff, and you can just acknowledge it.
Yes.
I don't.
Okay, I love that. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to ask you about that because I have seen a lot more of the AI transcription type software coming in. So it sounds like you're already using it. I was curious as to how well it's working because I think that that's really going to be the future of note taking for doctors for the most part it's just going to be a recording in the room. And the cool thing about that too is that yes, it'll be great for soap notes and things of that nature, but also too, and this is something I recommended even to my fiance who's also a chiropractor, about even recording when you do any sort of your sales pitches for feedback more than anything is because if you go and do a consultation with a patient and maybe you didn't close for whatever reason, is you can just transcribe that conversation and be where did I mess up? Where did I go wrong? Maybe they weren't a good fit, but at least you have some immediate feedback of how to improve, which I think is going to be huge.
Oh yeah, I totally can see that. We haven't implemented that yet, but I know that I had a buddy that does that. He's the 4th grade now with that software, but he just records it and then has actually chat GPT analyze it or at least transcribe it. And you can see,
100%. And it's as simple as literally, I mean, you could use your phone as well, but if you just threw a microphone on, that was what I was telling her is I have these DJIs, but there's a whole bunch of them, but you could just literally throw a microphone on and let it record. And then after even during lunch or at the end of the day is just upload it and be what are the highlights? Where did I mess up? What are some conversations that I didn't notice? Because we're just so blind to this stuff, especially when you're going from patient to patient and you're in the zone is you're just blind to all the little subtle things in the conversation that could easily be picked up.
One thing we do too to help, and Dr. Joki really implements it, and I adopted it more, is on our screen on the chiropractic, you have there's a little segment there. We always put something on there what they do for a living, they have 3 kids at this age, is at this date, their dog's name or something simple. So if you haven't seen them in 2-3 years, you forget, or you're seeing 80 a day, but that's up there. It clicks. We have the picture in there. That's important too. So then when you walk in a room, the patient, it's all in your brain, so you're present.
Personalizes it. I mean, there's going to be a lot more of that as well. That's brilliant. So I know you guys expanded from 2 rooms to 8 rooms. How did that change the flow, the practice, your mental capacity? How did that change things in terms of the clinic?
So we did it kind of 2 different stages. So when Dr. Joki joined, we had 2 main treatment rooms, then we had the exam and x-ray room, or an overflow room. And then we had like a couple, yeah, basically it's for treatment. That's what we had. So then he treated out exam and x-ray and I treated out when he started. And then we kind of alternate. Then we just kind of ran out of room. So I remodeled that half of my building and we created 4 rooms in a massage room. And then we hired a massage therapist. And then they kept the exam room up there. So we both had 2 rooms and we're going pretty solid. But then we started getting bogged down, we kind of used the rule of like, or I thought of it, if there's patients in the building and I'm sitting around and I'm not adjusting, there's an inefficiency, so that would happen more and more where patients be on therapy and I'm waiting for a room to open. I knew I needed to. So my building I have there's a back half I rented to a salon for years. And that's about another 1,200 square feet. And when I bought the building, I was kind of, it back in my head, I could expand it into that. So yeah, we had to let them leave and then we expanded it into that and it connected it all. So we added 4 more treatment rooms. We moved the x-ray machine back. We added a report of findings room and then another massage room. So we have 10 total rooms, chiropractic and massage, then a report of findings room and x-ray exam room.
Filling it up, man. Filling all the rooms up. Stacking them
Yeah.
high.
And that just opened our capacity and just become easier to see stuff. And then by not doing much more than that, you get busier.
Yeah.
And
Is that also then was having more open hours a result of that thing? Because I know you guys your hours are open more than probably, I mean, most clinics that I see for the most part. And I know you personally don't work Tuesdays. Is that the reason for it? Is just like to open up capacity because you guys were getting so busy?
yeah, I've cut back on my patient training hours. And then Tuesday, my office manager and I work from home a lot, but my office manager and I are, chat back and forth and we work on the business. That's kind of our whole kind of CEO time, or at least the morning. I really try to bust out that stuff because otherwise if you're just seeing patients, you can't do the next step or the implement things. But yeah, as because there's 3 of us, we spread out the hours and we're way more available. And I think it's huge. We're some fairly small town. There's 20 chiropractors. It's kind of it's a nice area to live. So it attracts a lot. So we have to kind of always have beat our competition, and expanding hours was one way. And I didn't realize how many we were missing. Like I close at noon on Fridays, or I close at different times when I was a solo practitioner, and people would just hang up and not leave a message, I think, and just call the next guy. And so when we opened the Friday afternoons, the Saturdays and different things, that we got busier just being availability. We usually get a new patient or 2 on a Saturday, and that's huge. Plus, a bunch of people can come in and see us too.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty predominantly the driving force for most service-based businesses, which is obviously the majority of the American market in regards to businesses, is that the time to, I guess, like, basically like answering a call or answering an email inquiry, or like basically time to from when somebody wants a service to like providing that service, it's arguably the biggest factor, period. And so, yeah, having your hours open on Fridays and Saturdays, which I would assume of the other 20, do any of them, does anybody else in your area offer Saturdays?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, that alone there's no question that that's going to get you new patients to the door. Just that availability alone.
And then a lot of times, we are the most professional looking office. I mean, I always really reinvest in everything. And so once somebody comes over from another chiropractor because they're hurting on a Saturday or whatever, most of them stay, just with our better service and availability.
What's the best investment you've made from a professional looking standpoint to make the clinic look better or drive new patients?
Can't think of exactly one, but as we remodel, we just update our colors and get clean paint, we keep everything clean. From the chairs, and every room's the same color, the same type of tables.
Do you hire an interior designer or something, or you just do it yourself?
Actually, initially, that a gal I rented to, that salon owner, she helped me pick out the colors. So, yeah, I'm not very good at that stuff. And I hired a designer for my layout. So I'm not a very good visionary when it comes to design or thing, but that's where I asked for help.
Yeah, you needed a female touch. If I had to take, if I read read between the lines here.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. You should have seen the apartment that I lived in prior to living with my fiance, man. It was yeah, it was bad. My bed was on the floor, and there I didn't even have like an actual like bed frame, and it was always dirty, always smelled terrible. Yeah, I that's not my strong suit.
My dad always say, he goes, "Could you imagine what housing would look like if there's no women?"
Yeah, it'd be smelly and trashy. It would look
Yeah.
homeless. It would all look
Garage full of stuff or something like that.
yeah, it looked like everyone looks homeless is what it would look like.
Yeah.
Um, so how do you get on staff on board with like with growth, right? Is like how do you handle the pushback from volumes and like climbing and growing a practice? Because I think it's one thing to hire or to find and to get a good associate in there, but then when like you want to continue to grow the practice, oftentimes I can see an associate like having a little bit of pushback with that. Like how do you deal with something like that?
Well, I haven't had too much first time associate wise. They're bonused on how much the volume they see. So I think that's a pretty good incentive for growth wise on that. Um, our staff, wise, we had some pushing. We had to do some pushing. Actually, my new office manager is awesome. She really is has growth mindset, and the older one I had that left not too long ago. She resisted change. Um, but it had really take a lot longer, and I just have to. This is the way we're doing it. But um, we have a really good culture now that we can really promote. We wanted people that want to be busy and want to have change. Um, and we implement our bonuses from them too, so they get rewarded for working harder.
So you basically opened up the bonus structure to not just associates, but the staff as well. Is that what you did?
It's kind of different type of bonus structure, but yeah, yep. We have different criteria, and we just implemented not too long ago. But
Do you mind sharing like any of the details on that? Like what, like, is it for a new patient or something? Or like what's like the overarching picture?
so the last time we bought a new uh cold lasers. We're trying to get that off the ground, so we wanted to do 5 laser packages a month, and then Kara, with my new office manager, CA, she blew out of the water, still 15. But and then yeah, we have patient visits, new patients, and then those are the three main ones we did in the last few times. So we get that going, and then probably collections we're going to add to it, so we can promote over counter desk collecting.
Got it. So you
Different metrics. We have a goal set ahead of time, and then when they work for it, we kind of use a gas gauge throughout the month.
got it. So all your staff has a base and then opportunities for bonus as the practice continues to grow.
Yeah.
I like it. It's aligning incentives. I mean, anytime you can align an incentive, it's a win-win-win for everybody involved, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I know
I
you
don't
might,
mind paying it if it makes they're excited about it. They go, they work together. We have three girls have a same goal, so it's not competitive for them either.
yeah.
They work good together.
Yeah, and I think it's also worth considering too is like you're looking at it more from an enterprise value of the business itself, which is like at the end of the day going to be the most valuable thing is like if you can continue to grow this practice and pull yourself out of it a little bit, like yeah, it's just a big old nice cash cow at the end of the day as you
Yeah.
continue to grow it and get more associates and all the team and staff is on board and everyone's getting bonuses and I know you've worked with a coach for 15 years now, which is insane to me. Um, what is the most expensive lesson that your coach had to beat in your head in regarding to delegation?
Oh, he would. He kind of always give me $1 average or whatever I'm seeing, or like. So throw it off the top of my head. Like if I'm busy an hour, and that was a while back, I'm worth $600-700 an hour, whatever it is. So then I'd be doing something. I'd be complaining about and cleaning the X-ray machine or whatever when I had the plain film, which it dates me. He goes, would you hire somebody to do that for about $600? Well, no. Well, you did. You know? So it puts that in perspective. If I'm not in the room or working on the business, if I'm not adjusting people working on the business, I'm wasting my time. Um, it's not, I should delegate anything less than that. And that took me a long time. Like most entrepreneurs are meant, we get, we think we can do everything better or whatever. But, um, so in some aspects, it's easy to delegate things I didn't like to do, but the things I like, good at it is harder, and I still could do more.
What else do you need to get off your plate?
Uh, I think as we're changing and growing, I think um, as we implement systems better, it's a good question. When they implement systems better, I shouldn't need to be so much. We're working on it, but we're taking this next step. We're really trying to grow it. So I've been really diving in and changing things and getting Karen and I are both really doing that. But after that, it shouldn't need near as much. I always talk about doing my financial stuff. I love financial, so I have a hard time giving that up. And it doesn't take me a ton of time, and it's a gas gauge. I like to look at my profit analysis, but that's one thing. Um, I don't know. I got to do that time audit and write everything down, like things that Dan Martell says to do. And so I'm kind of in the once we get everything up and running, I'm gonna do more of that.
Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell, great book. That book
Yeah,
changed
it's
my life.
awesome.
Yeah, it changed my life, man. Um, what is a task that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you will probably never give up just because maybe you have control issues or maybe you just like it too much?
It's kind of the financial bookwork.
All right.
I don't know. Um, I guess go back to your other question, buyback time. I need to hire another chiropractor, and I would like to treat less, delegate that.
Gotta get involved with that school again, man.
Yep.
Meet some more associates, some young chaps that you can pull into the clinic with you with your systems already built in place.
But yeah, that's kind of my next year goal.
Huh. Yeah, I'm glad you alluded to the common challenge of most business owners of delegating and giving up control. I think most of us have control issues, which is why we started a business in the first place, is because we didn't like having somebody else have control of our destiny. And I think that's honestly how a lot of us end up kind of where we are. And it's funny too, because like the thing that got you to the point of being willing to start your own business because you wanted control of your freedom or financial well-being or whatever it was that you wanted control of is also the exact same thing that once you've been in business long enough, that's actually going to stagnate your ability to grow because you're not able to also give it up again. So it's so funny how like so much of business is the initial lessons we need to learn to get us going or getting started. We almost need to immediately forget and then learn new lessons and disregard the old ones that were previously learned. And it keeps happening as you continue to grow through the business. Is like it just keeps happening again and again and again. But
For sure. Yeah, on my Tuesdays, if we're not working on projects, I try to work on just my brain's always whirling what it can do more efficient, and then yeah, open up everybody's time.
yeah. Um, so let's get a little bit into kind of like the future of the practice, I guess. You briefly alluded to it a little bit of wanting to bring on another associate and how obviously having your first associate like really changed everything in terms of the practice. What are the things that you look for in a resume now? Because obviously your initial doctor was like fell in your lap, awesome, worked out wonderful. But like if you were to now bring on a new doctor, how are you vetting? How like what are you looking for? What are the conversations you're having? And this is very top of mind for honestly, my fiance, ironically, is like she just hired a new associate, and a big part of her questioning was just very value based and very like where they stand in terms of like values and beliefs and just like culture oriented, I guess you could say. So I'm curious how you approach it now.
That's exactly right. Culture oriented is huge. Um, we have a really fun clinic culture. We're serious and we like to really help people and be efficient, but we also joke around a lot and we give each other crap, and um, it makes the day so much more fun. And that's important. I need somebody with a sense of humor to fit in, but also Yeah, just a personality. You can't teach that, you can teach anything else almost. Confidence. You need some confidence because you have to confront patients or different things and talk about money or whatever it is. But you need the confidence and the personality. I think those two more important things. Um, Skills of clinician that can be taught. Doesn't have to be done my way. There can be, Dr. Newman treats a lot different than Dr. Joki and I, and it's a different niche. And maybe a female would be great for our practice. So basic personality and, some confidence and some growth mindset is the most important part. What I think.
Sean made a comment. He said AI is changing the game and maximizes your visit time while generating notes that is compliant for insurance. On that note, I'm curious as to you talked about it earlier of one of the ways you're using AI for some transcribing stuff. Are there other ways that you are using it to, I guess, maximize your time or to be more efficient or to make better decisions or anything of that nature? I'm always curious how doctors are using AI in their own practices to kind of streamline things because, like, it's going to continue to evolve and it's going to continue to make its way into more and more practices. I'm already seeing it with a lot of the clients that we work with. So I'm curious as to you of how you guys are using it.
Well, Karen and I really adopted ChatGPT, and I talk to it on the way to work every day. So it's kind of funny. People laugh at me, but it it knows all my business, my marketing, my I and managerial stuff. I will go over if I have a hard topic, I'll have it rehearse for stuff. Gives you marketing ideas, have questions. You put all kinds of things. So I use it constantly. Um, Not so much during the patient, other than that subjective note, that chiropractor has that one, but I think you know, anywhere from writing a letter to a patient or a referral thing, I use that for just it's quick and easier. My English sucks usually, so that's a lot better.
Do you find that you have to fine tune it a lot though? Because I agree. I mean, I use it for all the things that you mentioned. I most predominantly use it almost like as a consultant. I don't think it's weird that you're having conversations with it at all. It's like talking about
You always open. You don't use it.
which is most people actually, ironically, is like people think that AI is like the predominant thing and everyone's using it. But actually, if you look at the data, most people still haven't adopted it. But um, yeah, so you're using it more as like a consulting, but like how much fine tuning does it take? Because like you mentioned, even like writing letters or emails, I would say the generic version of 99.9% of that is pretty trash, honestly. I'm curious as to like how you're tuning it.
Well, an email stuff, I just jot it out. It's usually not that important. I just like to clean up the punctuation and stuff. The majority I use is just for ideas, talking to you, bouncing it off. Um, Managerial stuff, marketing, use it for, I don't know, I can't think of anything right off the top of the head, but it's amazing the different things, especially it knows all my employees, what their weaknesses, strength is mine. So it kind of gives you, my one office manager, Katie left. And I just said, "Oh, Katie's leaving. Oh, that's too bad." But she was really bogging me down, and I mean, so like it, it's pretty impressive actually,
It's a psychiatrist.
kinda. But then it was like, here's what you need to do, like but it isn't all accurate. But some, it just helps me to talk out loud too, and then it does give like pretty good advice actually.
So the best thing I've done this year. So for the past 7 years now, I do between Christmas and New Year's. So right now, actually, I do this basically like yearly review, life design type thing where I plan or I look at the previous year and I plan out the year ahead. And I've been doing this for the past like since like 2018, I think is the first year I ever did it. However, though, this is the first year where I've ever implemented the tools of AI into the process as well. And I can tell you, it's taken something that I would give like a 3 out of 10 in terms of like how effective it is to like an 8.5 or even 9 out of 10 of how effective it is. And then one of the main reasons why I say that is like you alluded to it of putting in your strengths and weaknesses and things of that nature. So like basically it knows my personality type, it knows where my weaknesses are. Like I'm a quote unquote like wanderer and I have like high tenacity, but it also has its own weaknesses is like I can gut things out, right? Is like I can push really, really hard which oftentimes isn't always a strength. Sometimes that's a weakness because that just means that I'm not very good at delegating or I'm not good at evangelizing or things of that nature. Um, and so I've been going through this process of like setting my goals. And one of the prompts that I had to do was like it took I whittled down to 3 goals as I always do. And then I was basically like, all right, act like a red team or like a McKinsey consultant and give me like the most legitimate, like authentic feedback that you can and give me a probability score of how likely I am to achieve these 3 goals. And for a couple of them, it was basically like, no effing way. This is a terribly written goal. Like like you could do this, but like you're gonna sacrifice like time with your fiance or your health or like whatever. Basically, it was just like
Right.
brutally honest with me, and to the point where like even the way that it gave the response because it knows my like strengths and weaknesses and my personality type, where it was eerily accurate, man. I was like, oh, I was like, this is like spot on, which was great because then it allowed me to edit and adjust my goals to like be more in tune with like my natural proclivities and more in tune with like what I actually wanted and like more realistic of like what I could actually achieve this year as opposed to trying to dominate the world. But yeah, it's been
I,
super helpful.
ironically, I just did the same thing like yesterday.
Really?
It took me hours to get not the goals, but I go be brutally honest. I want one of the things I need to work on, and it kind of fluffed it. I go, I need more honesty. I go, because it kind of wants to fuse you.
Yeah.
And then I said, like you're always trying to, you're always looking for something. You're always doing it, but a lot of times you're not satisfied enough. You're out, you never enjoy things, and you don't. And it kind of nailed me. It's like, I mean, the strength is also a big weakness, like you said. Yeah, I can't remember a couple other things. My wife said, I could tell you that.
So on that note, this is where I was going with this. There was a point to my story, but so you're 48 now, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Before 49 tomorrow.
Oh shoot! Happy early birthday, man! Damn, my dad's birthday is actually in 2 days. New Year's Day. Your New Year's Eve. He's New Year's Day. Crazy. Um, what does the next 5 to 10 years look like? Like, is the goal to be 100% out of treatment? Is it to like sell the practice? Is it? I mean, what do you want to do? Like, what does the future look like for you?
It's kind of a good question. I'm right now we're talking about Dr. Joki buying in and being a partner. That'd be the next year plan. And we're trying to target goal about a year from now. Um, and then together really work on building it up for him and then I guess that's my and then have him buy me out with 10 years. It's kind of my off the cuff plan. But then the closer I get to retirement, I'm kind of a saver, and my dad retired young, and I kind of want to retire. I had a goal of retiring at 55. But the closer I get to that, the more I realize I like work and I like what I do. And so I'm kind of shifting to what I really want to do. So um, I kind of have him buying in, but I still want to keep in the game a little bit, like a couple days a week or 2 half days. I'm a pretty social person, and the job's pretty social. So it's kind of half my social life. But also I also thinking about buying other practices too. Had I listen to a lot of your podcasts, and those guys that scale up from what I have to multiple other practices. I think I'm there. I mean, and we're over seven figures this year, and so I don't know. So I got a lot to contemplate, but I haven't put it exactly in writing yet.
I
But
mean,
the first initial is Dr. Joki buying in. He's awesome. He's gonna be a great partner. He's gonna, you know, it's it- it's gonna be a good thing.
it's a fun place to be, right? Like you've put so many years into this practice to build the systems and build a team and build the culture, and now you have the ability to zoom way out and look at like, okay, maybe there are other practices in the Minnesota or even who knows, Wisconsin, North Dakota, yeah, Austin. If you really, yeah, I mean, there'd be a good reason to travel south.
Yeah.
But because like yeah, even another one of my clients and the person that has a bunch of practices out in the Carolinas is like, yeah, they're looking to expand in the even outside of the Carolinas into other states and um yeah, it's a fun place to be. It's I mean it's again it's gonna require you to unlearn old lessons and relearn new lessons and grow into a new type of leader, one that doesn't just manage a single location, but what does it look like to manage multiple locations? And I know that's a huge challenge for a lot of people because how do you transfer culture from one location to another practice? That's hard. And I can tell you from a lot of the docs that I talk to is like sometimes they regret it because it's really hard and you have to make sure it's the right people. And there's a lot that goes into that. So there would be no shortage of new lessons for you to learn. Is there, as we kind of wrap up this conversation, is there any topics or lessons that you learned in your many, many years of practice and building a business and building a chiropractic practice that you wish we would have talked about or tapped into, or even wish you would have learned, or something that you could share with another chiropractic business owner that you wish they knew?
I think I was a part owner of a gym too early on, and I was spread too thin. I thought I want to do all these entrepreneurial things. I feel like if you just focus on being really good at one thing, I think that's, and then take that somewhere else instead of try to spread yourself too thin too early and try to do multiple things. Can be everything for everybody. And I think just be the best you can at one thing and focus. And that's where when I took off, I grew more.
Same boat, man. I actually this year I had a big community that I was hosting and running and leading a bunch of other health related business owners and entrepreneurs, and I officially handed it off to somebody else this year. And yeah, it was just another distraction. It's just so easy to be distracted by things that seem like productive. They seem like they have an opportunity. Like I'm sure this gym probably had potential. Maybe it still does, or maybe the person running it down now is doing great, but like your time is limited. So you gotta focus.
Really. Yeah. In hindsight, I should have, I think I had 20 grand into it for the dump pot and I sold it for 40 and I was good at nickel and dime. And then, well, my practice took off after that. I should have, I could have gave the guy 40 grand and the practice, hey, what did better, but yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was weighing on me. And opening capacity and the mental capacity is huge.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's everything. Goes back to buying back your time, right?
Yeah, totally.
Um, where can people find you? What's your plug?
Just get up as chiropractic or Jeremy's chiropractor. Davis Chiropractic is my office. If you want to look me up, we have some social media stuff. We're gonna be our Google Ads is really gonna take off soon.
Wonder Chris doing that.
Be able to just Google me anywhere on there, and it's gonna be pop right up first thing, guaranteed, right?
Yeah. I can almost guarantee you that actually that's accurate. But especially with how many amazing reviews that you guys got. You guys have the most reviews in your entire area, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Some crazy. I guess we could end on that one final thing, because that is a huge thing for most businesses and practice owners is like they vastly underestimate how important their Google business profile is to building really a successful practice and getting new patients and building trust. How have you guys been so consistent and good and diligent about getting reviews with your clinic?
Well, I think we have systems in place. We have a that do that review wave that asks for reviews on their thing. It's easy to link, but we also mention it in the practice a lot. Somebody's doing well, um, and they're happy. They're amazed by the results or something. And we said there's lots of people that don't know what we can do. So if you want to give us a review, it would be a huge compliment. So a lot of times they'll do that on or that way. So they're just asking for them when they're happy.
This is part of a system you built within the practice.
Yeah, kind of. It's not ingrained in it, but we trained it all. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's such a big one. And it's so easily skipped over and forgotten about. And people just don't realize like really how big of a lift that can bring to really any healthcare practice. But yeah, definitely a chiropractic practice as well, from trust to search to all the things. But yeah.
Yeah, people, especially travelers that come through. We have a big tourist area in the summer. They all look at the reviews. They seem like when they come in.
Grand Rapids is a big tourist. Why?
We always have tons of lakes. Just a nice, quaint, small, it's a cabin area. Everybody from the cities come up here, and
Oh, you're okay. So they go up and do some like fishing and camping and cabining and that sort of stuff. Is what you're talking
yeah,
about.
like
Okay.
Task County has 1,000 lakes within there, so it's like pure lake country. Um, you, you must be familiar with Brainerd, but
Oh, yeah.
more north and more. So kind of the next.
The Beavers,
But-
right? Aren't they the Beavers?
That's Bemidji. That's
Oh,
that's just an hour west of us.
got it.
But yeah, so we do get some tourists that come up and they all look at the reviews before or some people move up.
I mean, the way people find chiropractic clinics is they type best chiropractor near me or best chiropractor Grand Rapids or whatever the hell it is. And then they find you and they're like, oh my God, they're open on Saturday. That's amazing. We should go there. And then, yeah.
Right. Are you the first one that actually answered the phone or that?
Yeah.
But yeah, they say that the reviews a lot.